Okay, so today, guys, we're looking at how to calculate payments on credit cards. And I'm going to show you a really quick way to do it on your on the graphing calculators. That's why you got that out. But first of all, just that, you know, we hear all sorts of things about credit cards and how you can get into debt and not be able to get out of debt, depending on how much you pay towards your balance. All right. So when you are paying on, what makes a credit card different than a installment loan? Okay. Well, here's the difference. A credit card, you are not required to pay off the balance in any set period of time like you are when you do an installment loan. So if I borrow money for a car or a house, anything that's an installment loan, it's going to have a set period of time on it that I'm going to be done paying. These aren't, okay, thank you. All right. Now, what you are required to do on a credit card is make a minimum monthly payment. Okay, now the problem with making a minimum monthly payment is that the payment usually just covers the interest that you've accrued, and it doesn't really pay down much of the principal. That's the money that you owe. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is an example of how long it would take you to pay off a debt if you just paid the minimum payment. Okay, so on that credit card calculator here, okay, let's say that our credit card debt is $5,000. So let's type in 5,000. Okay, our annual interest rate, now those all vary, but usually they're like 18 to 21%. Now, what happens is a credit card might get you to get their credit card by offering you a low introductory rate. And what happens is that runs out after a certain amount of time, like 6 months or a year. Or if you're ever late on a payment or you miss a payment, there's a clause in your contract that automatically shoots up your interest rate. So let's say you had a credit card and you only had to pay 6% interest and you missed a payment or were late, that 6% would then balloon to like 18 or 21 or 28%. That's why it's so important to pay these things on time. All right, so right now we're not going to put anything additional towards our monthly payment other than just the minimum. All right, so most credit cards, and it depends on the credit card, has a minimum payment of 2%. All right, so if we did that with $5,000, okay, and let's see, our minimum payment amount right here, we'll just leave it as 25. Where it says skip note December payment, say when offered no, and then it says describe the table, and we got yearly, we got monthly. Let's just do yearly right now. Okay. How long do you think it's going to take to pay this off? 4 years, 5 years? 5.5. Making the minimum payment. Oh my God. No, what? 31 years. Okay?
31 years for what?
If you just pay the monthly payment. Okay, so the problem is when you pay the minimum payment on your credit card, all of the money that you send in goes to pay the interest on the credit card. So if you look at year one, you started with $5,000, okay, owing $5,000, all right? And for the whole year, you earned 876 dollars in interest. You send in $1,168. Okay, look how much your balance went down. Yeah, $300. Okay, and then in year 2, it's gone like maybe another $300. So when you're just making a monthly payment, okay, that's the minimum monthly, you're really just paying interest, and your balance, what you really owe, goes down very, very little. So in the end, you're paying a whole bunch of money or a whole bunch of interest. Okay? Now look what happens if you take this and you switch it so that you pay maybe an additional $100. So you're not just paying the minimum, now you're going to pay the minimum plus 100. Okay, so now we calculate that.
An orange marker, Mr. Crowley?
An orange marker. Highlighter, you mean?
No, marker, like whiteboard marker.
No, not orange. Okay.
I need orange.
Felt.
Supposed to have what I need.
Okay, so what did you get for the results on that?
Did you move the 5,000?
Oops.
I got 4 years.
Okay, so now you went from 30 years, 31 years to 4 years. Just by making that extra payment. So if you look here where it says results, by paying an additional $100 per month, it'll take 3.7 years to pay off your debt. The interest will amount to $1,600, okay? This represents a savings of $10,690 in interest if you only made the minimum payments each month. Okay, you'll also pay off the credit card 27.2 years sooner. All right, so the point I wanted to make here was when you make the minimum payment on a credit card, you're not really reducing your debt very much at all. Okay, and so it's the wise thing to do is, one, pay your entire credit card off every month, or always pay more than the minimum. Okay, because the minimum, you're not getting anywhere. All right, so now what I'm going to show you is what do you do, or how do you do this on your calculator? All right, so down to here. So what we're going to do is we're not going to pay the minimum. We're going to make a payment so that we get out of debt quicker. All right, so we'll do it first using this formula, and then I'm going to show you the shortcut on your calculator. All right, so let's open up the calculator here. View, always in front. Put that there. Put that there. Clear. Okay, so you need one of these calculators. Okay, put your phone away. What's your name? Corbin. Phone. Get a calculator, please. All right. So let's say you got a credit card balance of $2,300. Interest rate is 21%. You want to be out of debt in 1 year. Okay, how much will you need to pay each month? Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is calculate it using this formula here. All right, so based on that, our principal is 2,300. So I'm going to substitute that in for Pete. All right, and let's see, my principal is $2,300.
So are we looking for an
All right, well, N is going to be 12 because we're going to be making monthly payments. So when you're doing this on you're going to let P equal 2,300. All right, the APR 0.21 as a decimal. N is the number of payments you make, so this is monthly payments, 12. And then Y, we want to be out of debt in 1 year. Okay, so those are the numbers that we're going to be substituting in here. So 0.21, okay, it's 0.21. You move the decimal place once, twice. All right, and then this is going to be 12, and then down below, and then this is negative 12 times 1. Can you wait till we're done with this, please? Is it possible?
No, not really, to be honest.
Okay, quickly. All right. So now what we're going to do is run that through our calculator. And let's see. So we start with the bottom.
It's just like what we've been doing.
It's yes. 0.21 divided by 12. Enter. Then do your exponent. Parenthesis, negative 12 times 1, or just negative 12. Enter. 1 minus second answer. And that's where you should be. That's the denominator.
See, it doesn't change that we have the parentheses on top, right?
It doesn't,
Like, you know how you say you put the 2,300 in parentheses right there?
the
On
2,300.
your paper,
No.
It does, okay, I didn't know if it was.
Yeah, that just means times. Yeah. So now I'm going to do the top. 2,300 times parenthesis 0.21 divided by 12. Close the parentheses. Now go divide. Second answer. That's the denominator, the number above it. Okay, so the amount that we would have to pay each month, if we round this to the nearest penny, is $214.16. All right, now what we're going to do then after that is, how much did you pay altogether? All right, so you're paying $214.16 times 12, because that's the 12 months, times 1 year. So now we just multiply that out. So I'm just going to go second quit and multiply that out. So 214.61.
It's 16.
Oops, 16. Okay, 1/6 times 12 times 1. Okay, so I paid $2,569.92. Okay.
So you do 21% of the 2,500?
No, not yet. No. So to get the amount of interest, okay, find the percent of your payment that is interest. All right, so your total payment, so this is going to be the percent in interest. Okay. So your total payment goes on the bottom. And how much interest you paid goes on top. So to get your interest, you're going to take what you paid and subtract what you owed, which is $2,300. So that's going to be how much out of this payment, how much of it was interest.
So 269.92 over 2,569.
It sounds about right, yeah. So, parenthesis, let's see, 2,569.92 minus 2,300, close the parentheses. So that's how much I paid in interest. Over 2569.92. Okay. So now divide 2,569.92 enter. Okay, and if I move the decimal 2 places to the right, okay, 10.5% interest. So if we were thinking of this as a circle, okay, this would be 25%. So I'm going to kind of guess that 10% looks something sort of like that. So that's how much of your money went to go pay the interest, which doesn't look bad. And then this amount is how much you paid, how much of your total payment went towards paying off your debt. So you can see here, when you pay something off soon, you pay a lot less money in interest. Okay, so 89.5% of what you paid went to pay off your principal. And I just took 100.5, or 100 minus 10.5. So that's not bad. You're not paying a ton of interest. All right, now, the cool thing is, all of the typing in of this equation that you've been doing, you can have it done automatically on your calculator. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you how to do now. So we're going to take this exact same problem, and we're going to use what's known as the TVM solver on your calculator. So TVM stands for time, value, and money, and it's on your calculator. So to get to it, you're going to go press the key that says apps. All right. And then choose number 1, finance.
Apps number one.
Apps. And then choose 1, which says finance. And you should get a screen that looks like that. Okay, everybody there okay? All right, now just click the one that says TVM Solver. And it looks like that. Okay? All right. Now, you just have to know how to plug in how these numbers work. All right. So the first one is N. So if you look over here, N is the number of payments that we're making. Okay, so on this one, what we were doing, we're making 12 payments for 1 year. Okay, so I'm going to type in 12 times 1, which is just 12. But if it wasn't 1 year, it would multiply those numbers out. And now I hit enter.
So like it does the math for us.
Okay, yeah. Like if you had like 12 times 30 or something. Okay, now the next one is the interest rate. Now what makes this different is you don't convert it to a decimal. You just type in whatever the interest rate is. So in this last example, it was 21%. So you don't put in 0.21, you put in 21. That's the big difference between doing it manually and using the TVM solver. Okay, now, this is your present value. Okay, and what you have to understand is, when do you put this number in as a positive or a negative? All right? So, if you're doing a problem where you are making an investment and you want to see what that investment is going to grow to, you type this number as a negative. So we're not doing an investment here. See, what this means, guys, a cash flow model, if money is moving away from you, you put a negative on it. If money is moving towards you, you put a positive on it. So if you borrowed money, money is moving towards you. All right? So my present value is going to be 5,000. Okay, so let's see, we got 21 here. And I'm going to put in, wait, how much was my amount there? 2,300, I'm sorry. Okay, and this is because we borrowed 2,300. So that number goes in as a positive. So 2300. Okay, now we want to calculate the payment. So we're just going to skip over that one.
So leave it at 0?
Yeah, we'll come back to it. All right, now the final value okay, or the future value is how much you want to have left over at the end of 1 year. In this case, we want to pay off the debt, so we want our future value to be 0. Okay. So in this is our credit card debt right here. And we want the future value to be debt-free. Okay, so now that's got a 0 in it. Okay, all right, now hit enter. Okay, PY, what that stands for is the number of payments per year. Yep, so this case it's going to be 12. Okay, so what these stand for, one is the number of payments per year, which in this case is going to be 12. And C stands for the number of compounding periods per year, which is also 12. So in all these credit card ones, those are going to be 12. All right, so we switch that to 12. So 12 and enter. And then 12 again. Enter. Okay, now leave it on end, and now use the arrow keys and go back up to payment.
The
PMT, payment, because that's what we want to figure out. So to get the calculator to do the payment, you go alpha, enter. And there's your monthly payment.
Isn't that what we got in 2016?
Exactly. Okay. So negative 200. Now the negative means that's money moving away from you. That's a payment. So you had $2,300 come to you. That was positive. Then to pay it off, you had to send out every month $214.16. Okay, so on here, in order to get to whatever you are trying to calculate, you hit alpha, enter. So here I did alpha, the alpha key, and then the enter key. And you can see that's a lot easier than having to go through that whole set of calculating instructions by hand. You could use this for the stuff that you did on mortgages. It's the exact same thing. So like the Math Excel that we did yesterday, you could use the TVM solver to do those problems. All right, so let's try another one here. Okay, so you got a credit card, $7,000 balance. Okay, interest rate is 15%. What are your monthly payments if you want to pay off the card in 4 years? All right, so up here, I'm going to put 12 payments times 4 years. I'm going to make, and when you're doing this, guys, you just can write right over the last one. Okay, so I can just go up arrow and now go 12 times 4, enter. Okay, my interest rate is 15%. So I just put it in as 15, no decimal. Okay, my present value is 7,000 positive. Okay, just skip over the payment, because we'll come back to that. We want the future value to be 0, 12 payments a year, compounded a year. Compound 12 times a year. Now go back up to payment and hit alpha, enter. And that's how much you got to pay per month. So this would end up being negative $82. And this one was 0, this was 12, this was 12. Now you see that little black dot next to it, that little black square? That's just telling you this is what you just figured out. You calculated the payment. Okay, so you got to understand what this negative means. This is money moving away from you. That's how you represent money moving away from you when you're using a cash flow model. The positive and negative is indicating which way the money's going. So $7,000 came to you, and now you got to pay $194.82 a month. Okay, so that's going to go right here. So $194.82. Okay, now we want to figure out how much did we pay altogether. So,
I got 2514.
okay, so we paid that amount a month for 12 months for 4 years. And this you just do on your calculator regular. Okay, so I'm going to clear this. Okay, so I just go second, quit, and it takes me to my home screen. And now I put in that amount. 4.82 times 12 times 4. Okay, so altogether I paid $93.51.36. All right, and now finally, how much of your payment did you pay towards interest? What's the percentage? Okay, so how much I paid minus how much I owed divided by how much I paid. $25%?
2514, yeah.
Yeah. So 1/4 of all your money went to just paying the interest.
Sounds like an issue.
Okay, so let's see. Parenthesis 93.51.36 minus 7,000. Close. So that's how much interest you paid over the 4 years. So if you ever find yourself in a credit cards, situation, this is a good, you can set a goal for yourself. Hey, I want to get out of this, underneath this credit card debt in 3 years, 4 years. You can figure out how much you'd have to pay each month. And then, so using this solver, all you got to do is just play around with the number of payments till you get to something you can afford. Okay, so this is going to be 9351.36, enter. Okay. 9351.6. And that's going to be what was it, 25.1? 25 point what? Yeah, 25.14. So I'm going to say 25.14%. So if I was doing this as a circle, pie chart, a quarter of my money goes towards interest. Approximately. So out of all that money that you sent them, okay, the red part went to paying off the interest. That goes to the credit card company. That's how they make their money. And that big chunk of what you sent in goes towards what you owed. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I think we're done. No, we got one more. So you guys try the last one. For the last one, for which question?
4?
Yeah, for A, B, or C.
Oh, A, I got 164.43.
Okay.
And B, I got 39.46.32.
Okay.
So the last one I got 1891.
Okay. All right.
That's
That's
it?
it. Okay, so the assignment that goes with this is Math Excel 32, but make sure you can do this. So go through it and make sure you can get these numbers. So I'll go through it so we got a record of it. Okay, so we want to pay off 2 years, so this is going to be 2 times 12, 21, 3,200, 0, 12, 12. And then use the TVM solver. Back to payment, alpha, enter. Okay. Times 12 months times 2 years. So I go second quit that 64.43 times 12 times 2, enter, 39432. Okay, and now we're going to take that amount, parenthesis, second answer, that's that total amount, take away 3,200, divided by second answer. So you see how I use that so I didn't have to retype this. Okay, and then enter. %. So if this was around 18.91, I'm just going to say roughly 19%. Okay, well, I guess I should say 18.9. Okay, and then subtract that from 100. So 100, take away 18.91, and the rest of this thing is principal. Okay, Math Excel 32.